What's going on, you guys? This is your boy RBG, aka the Random Black Gamer, bringing you a video on something that's been out about 2 days now, at least 3 by the time I upload this video to YouTube, which is going to be a brand new Transformers animated series. Not just any animated TF series, this is going to be something out of the norm that we're accustomed to, where we've essentially been getting a lot of these CG animated kid-friendly tunes. No, this is going to be something totally different, and it's going to come from the crazy mind of Robert Kirkman, who some of you may recognize for some of his works such as The Walking Dead, as well as the more recent Invincible series on Amazon Prime. Yes, this guy, he is no stranger to those who have been following the media lately, especially when it comes to comics as well as animated and live action shows. Robert Kirkman is this guy who's essentially edged his own path within the Image alumni of comic book writers and artists. And this guy has remained relatively busy. Like, when he's not writing comic books, he's serving as the executive producer to TV adaptations to some of his works, with Invincible being the latest. And if you guys know anything about Invincible, then you know it's not for the faint of heart, as well as kids, because it pushes the envelope when it comes to brutality and violence. So it's very much catered to an adult audience. And speaking of which, it looks like Transformers is going to see something in a similar vein to that. Yes, it's been reported that Transformers, particularly the Energon universe comics, are going to receive an animated adaptation that's targeted towards a mature audience. And this right here says a lot, because Transformers, for the most part, they've always been targeted towards kids, because as you know, it serves as this commercial vehicle to drive more toy sales, because when a kid sees their favorite character on these TV shows, then chances are they're going to want to purchase the action figure that it's based after, or vice versa, because we know Transformers, for the most part, all these action figures existed before the characters were actually 2D animated. But anyways, if you're questioning the legitimacy of this quote-unquote rumor, then fret not, because it comes from a very reputable source in the form of Deadline, which has confirmed that yes, it is going to be based on Skybound's Energon universe. Their article says, and I quote, "Robert Kirkman's Skybound Entertainment has teamed up with Hasbro to produce an Energon universe, an adult animated series based on the comics of the same name created by Kirkman. Joe Henderson, known for Lucifer, is attached to write the adaptation and serve as showrunner on the series, an epic crossover of G.I. Joe, Transformers, and Void Rivals mythology, which is expected to be taken out to buyers shortly. Despite featuring the family-friendly Hasbro characters G.I. Joe and Transformers, the Energon Universe series will be broad, with adult sensibility in the vein of Kirkman's gritty adult animated series Invincible, based on his comic, which has been a hit for Prime Video, renewed for Season 5 ahead of its Season 4 premiere next March." So yeah guys, this basically confirms what I'm saying. This is going to be a brand new series based off of the new line of comics. And just to clarify what the Energon universe is, right? I know some of you are going to confuse it with the show Transformers Energon. It's not that at all. Like I said, it's going to be based on the comics, because if you aren't aware of this, the license for the Transformers comics had expired in 2022 for IDW Publishings and was picked up by Skybound Entertainment under the Image Comics imprint. And for 2 years, they have absolutely been crushing it. We're talking over 7 million in sales worldwide. Back when it launched in 2023, it was actually featured in another comic book by the name of Void Rivals, which is actually an original property that Robert Kirkman has created. And I just want to emphasize that yes, this is an expanded universe, but just because Transformers is at the forefront and you hear the name Energon Universe, there's a lot more going on here than you think, guys. Yeah, this is actually going to consist of other properties within that respective universe that Robert Kirkman has ushered to the table. G.I. Joe is obviously one of them. That's another thing that was purchased by Skybound Entertainment, and they're going to be sharing the spotlight with the Transformers, as well as Void Rivals and any other kind of thing that Robert Kirkman has in this particular universe. But yeah guys, these new line of comics have been nothing short of amazing, man. We're talking gripping storytelling that gets us excited for the next issue and does a good job of actually grounding the Transformers in a more realistic setting without taking all the things that we like away about these particular characters, because that's been the biggest issue we've had with the live action movies, right? We don't get a chance to see enough of these characters, and we don't see things realistically anymore. Like the Bay films, they started off with a bang and made it feel realistic, but they kind of lost a lot of that realism along the way and just became nonsensical explosive movies. And Paramount and Hasbro have been desperately trying to figure out how they can get that film franchise back in good graces with the fans who have left it behind. But I feel like this new show is going to actually pull in new and older fans, because like I said, these comics are really good at bringing something new and old to the table, something that's fresh and invigorating but also familiar to those of the Transformers franchise. And it's going to be something a lot more mature than what we're accustomed to, which I'm aware that this particular detail is going to raise some red flags for longtime fans of the series, because they like their Transformers to be pure and lighthearted and only reserve depth for serious moments. But I'm just telling you now, if they plan on adapting these comics beat for beat and they do what I think they're going to do, you will grow to like the way that they handle some of the more mature elements up in this, especially when it comes to the depth of humans. As we are aware, humans are some of the weaker aspects of Transformers. We're talking like from a writing and a physical standpoint. We're just flesh bags. We're waiting to be stepped on, blown up, and all these things. And Skybound, they don't shy away from those issues. And I'm not saying that the human death is anything new when it comes to Transformers, because we've seen plenty of humans get destroyed by Transformers in things like the live action movies, as well as Transformers Prime. I think one character ends up dying in that particular series, but the humans in this particular universe, they end up getting brutalized in some of the worst ways imaginable. Like for example, and spoiler alert to those who haven't read the comics and want to reserve that for when you actually see this series, the character of Starscream, he shows no mercy when it comes to humans. Like we see scenes of him squeezing humans in his bare hands. Like in this one scene where I think a G.I. Joe character, he tries to eject from his jet after being assaulted by Starscream, only to be clapped between Starscream's hands like a fly. Like it's so bad for the humans in this comics, the Decepticons even refer to them as quote-unquote squishies. So yeah, these comics can get very gritty, and I'm not sure how that's going to be translated in animated format, because like I said, Invincible, it takes it there when it comes to the violence. The level of gore in that show knows no bounds, and we can be seeing something similar with this Transformers animated adaptation. Now, in regards to who actually will be picking this thing up is anyone's guess, because as the article says, they are still looking for buyers, which I'm pretty sure they're going to come across somebody sooner than later, because Robert Kirkman has made a name for himself in the Hollywood space, and a lot of these companies are itching to get their hands on something that he's created to make into a live action adaptation as well as an animated one. Not to mention that Transformers as a property is still good. I know some people would argue otherwise, but once you combine Robert Kirkman with a property that's been around for the better half of 40 years, then you have potential magic there. And I'm just gonna be real with you guys, I wouldn't mind if Paramount decides to just wipe the whole new universe that they've established in the live action movies clean and start off with these particular comic books to adapt. But for now, we're just gonna worry about animation. Speaking of animation, it's still up in the air on what kind of animation they could potentially be going for. Like, I'm under the assumption that this will be 2D animated, but I am well aware that Transformers for the most part has been associated heavily with CG animation. This has been a thing since the Beast Wars days when we had full CG animated shows, and even when we did have those 2D animated elements, you can always bank on the fact that the Transformers themselves would be animated in CG. Like, that's been a thing since Transformers Energon, and many fans, including myself, are just waiting to see a project that's fully 2D animated. We're just talking something that's gonna knock our socks off, because you know Transformers and good animation go hand in hand with one another. Now with that said, since it is going to be something that Robert Kirkman is going to be producing, the quality may vary, especially if it ends up being produced by the same company that works on Invincible, because one of the biggest complaints that fans have had in regards to that particular series, especially for later seasons, is the fact that despite being one of Amazon's more popular series, it doesn't get the same love in regards to its budget that other series such as The Boys get. Like, there were rumors circulating around the internet that they were getting as much as $7,500,000 per episode for season 1 compared to the whopping $10 million that The Boys were getting per episode. And mind you, the quality and animation for the later seasons of Invincible have seen some very highs and lows. So yeah, take it that what you will. I am just happy that we are getting something new when it comes to Transformers, and it could potentially be a fully animated series. Funny enough, you know, the thing that I know a lot of people are going to be wondering about is Peter Cullen reprising his role as Optimus. I got my fingers crossed that he will be returning to voice the red and blue Robo Jesus, and I feel like he will, because funny enough, Peter Cullen, he has also been featured in Invincible as one of the Viltrumites. So yeah, like, I would like to believe that Robert Kirkman would not be crazy and dismiss this guy when he's essentially already worked with him on his own show. But anyways, that's all the news I got for you guys today. What are your thoughts on this? Are you happy that we're getting a new Transformers animated series? And how do you feel about it being a little more grittier than the animated shows that we've had in the past? Let me know in the comment section below. As always, I ask that you like or dislike the video. It doesn't have to be a thumbs up, it can be a thumbs down. But if you really enjoyed this video, it would help me out tremendously if you shared it with all your friends and followers on all the different social media outlets. Sharing really makes a difference. But once again, this is your boy RBG signing out on another video. I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.